isolating y. So if the y and the x are on the same side of the equal sign, like given here, they're on the same side of the equal sign, you are going to move the x term to the other side of the equal sign. So you're going to move it onto that side by either addition or subtraction. Now, if the coefficient of y, if y is a coefficient other than 1, then you are going to multiply and or divide. And there's a reason that it says and or, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Everything by that coefficient. And the everything is very important. Maybe I should highlight it. Everything is very important. This one, if the y and a constant, so this should have a 4 here. If y is sitting next to a constant with addition or subtraction, then what we're going to do is we're going to move, and I messed up on this, shouldn't say x term, the constant to the other side of the equal sign by addition or subtraction. Then, if the y has a coefficient other than 1, then you are going to either multiply or divide everything by that coefficient. And again, it does have the word anything. Okay, so if I look here, this first one right here has the x and the y on the same side of the equal sign. I want y to be by itself. So that means that I am going to need to move the 2x to the other side of the equal sign by subtraction. Why did I pick subtraction? Because this is a positive 2x, and we need the opposite of a positive 2x, which is a negative 2x. So I'm going to subtract 2x on both sides. I'm going to bring the y straight down, the equal sign straight down. Now, negative 3 does not have an x next to it. So I am going to write negative 2x minus 3 because we want it in the form of y equals mx plus b. That is the whole point, is to be able to get it in that form. Okay, so let's look at this next one. Again, y is not by itself. Right now it has a constant on the same side. So I still need to move that constant to the other side of the equal sign. So the opposite of minus 3 would be plus 3. So I'm going to get y equals 3. Over here, I have an x and a y. So I want the y to stay where it is, but I want the x to move. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. Okay, don't do this, but basically what the whole purpose of it is to get rid of that so that the 3y is by itself. That's why we're doing it. Okay, so negative 4x. Right now, I have a coefficient of y, so I need to divide both sides by that coefficient, and I get negative 4/3 x. Over here, I have the x and the y on the same side of the equal sign. So that means I need to move the x to the other side because I want y to be by itself. This is negative 3x, so I need to do the opposite, which is plus 3x on both sides of the equal sign. I get 2y equals 3x plus 2. Then I have a coefficient of 2, so I'm going to divide everything by that 2. This cancels, and that becomes just plain y. 3 over 2 x plus 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now, could you also write it as 3x over 2 plus 1? Yes. Either one of those. They mean the exact same thing. Okay, so this next one, we do the exact same thing, except for this time, the y is sitting in a different spot. It's okay that it's sitting in a different spot. We still need to move this 2x to the other side. The opposite of 2x is negative 2x. I bring down my 3y, my equal sign, and then I have negative 2x plus 6. Then I'm going to divide each one of these by the coefficient of y, and I get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 2. Okay, over here. Okay, again, I need y by itself. So this right now, there's an invisible 1 right there. So we're going to subtract x from both sides of the equal sign. Make sure that this negative gets brought down with the 4, because that's negative 4y, negative x plus 8. There is a coefficient of negative 4, so I'm going to divide everything by negative 4. Just moving it up a little. This simplifies to y. Negative divided by a negative is a positive, so x over 4. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. I would get negative 2. You can also write this, because there's an invisible 1 right there, you could also write it as 1/4 x minus 2. They are both correct. Okay. This one right here. Okay, I want the y to be by itself, so I'm going to subtract the 2x to make it go to the other side of the equal sign. I would get negative 2y equals, and then negative 2x plus 5. I want the y to be by itself. It has a negative 2 being multiplied by it. So I'm going to divide by a negative 2, divide by a negative 2, divide by a negative 2. I get y equals negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, but we don't actually write the 1, we just write x. And then positive divided by a negative is a negative, and I have 5 over 2. Okay. Then we have, okay. Now you may say, oh no, a fraction. Well, let's see if this fraction is even going to bother us at all. Okay, so we want the y to be by itself. Right now, I need to move this to the other side, so I do negative 3x, or 3/4 x, to move that to the other side of the equal sign. Make sure to bring down the negative. That negative needs to come down. Equals negative 3/4 x plus 12. There's an invisible negative 1 here. I'm going to divide everything by negative 1. Y equals, and all we're doing really is changing the signs, because a positive divided by a negative is a negative, and so all we did, or and a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So all we did was change signs. So let's do the same thing over here. Again, I want the y to be by itself. The opposite of 8x is minus 8x. So I bring down negative y, because I need to make sure that comes down, equals negative 8x plus 15. Divide by a negative 1, divide by a negative 1, divide by a negative 1, and I get 8x minus 15. Okay. So I have a constant sitting next to the y. We're wanting the y to be by itself. So the opposite of a 6 is a negative 6, so I'm going to subtract that to the other side. I get 1/2 y equals 3x minus 6. How do I get rid of that fraction? I multiply by the denominator, which is 2. And I'm going to multiply everything by that denominator. When I do that, that cancels. I'm left with y equals 6x minus 12. Over here, okay, again, I subtract the 3x from both sides. Negative 6/5 y equals negative 3x plus 18. Now, some of you really don't like fractions. They like bother you. So let's get rid of the fraction so you don't have to even think about that fraction. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply everything by the denominator. So the denominator is 5. So I'm going to multiply here 5. I'm going to multiply here 5. And multiply here 5. And when I multiply by that 5, this cancels. I get negative 6y equals negative 15x plus 90. Okay, so now we have no fractions. I got rid of the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. Now I'm going to divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6, divide by negative 6. That will get me y. Then we have negative divided by negative. That's a positive. Now, I can divide the top and the bottom by 3. So that would get me 5 over 2x minus, that's going to get me, that goes in 90 divided by 6. That goes in 1 time, 15. So that's my answer. Okay, I should have started off with this one first. It would have made more sense, but that's okay. I don't like my fraction. So I'm going to get rid of that denominator by multiplying this side by 4 and multiplying this side by 4. Cancels. I'm left with negative 5y equals 80x. Oh, I meant to change back to writing in blue. I don't know why. Then divide by negative 5. And I get y equals negative 16x. Hopefully you can see all that.